So what if I told you that there was one change that you could implement today that didn't cost a dime and it would get you 90% of the way towards living the life of your dreams? I bet you'd want to know about it, wouldn't you? Well, hang out for 10 minutes or so, and I'm going to share with you some ancient wisdom that delivers on this promise. I'm Eric Osborne. I've been working in consciousness expansion and transformation for 25 years, specifically through plant medicines for all of my life since I could read. Basically, I have been studying esoteric texts and wisdom, and it is my great desire and joy to bring those two worlds together and share them with whoever wants to listen to help us live the life of our dreams. So, I said I was going to share with you something that was going to deliver on a promise towards getting you towards the life, 90% towards the life of your dreams. I said, that's no small thing, right? It's so easy, but it is not simple. Now, this technique, this perspective, is found in faith traditions around the world, but it's not spiritual bypassing. This is really challenging work, but I can guarantee you, if you'll stick with it, it will change your life. I've seen it age people backwards. I've seen it alleviate stress and woes like no pharmaceutical could ever imagine. I've seen it relieve depression and anxiety. I have seen it transform lives, mine included. Now, the concept from Kabbalah is known as certainty beyond logic. In the Taoist teachings, there's a practice called the inner smile that moves you on this path. In Christian world, it's known as faith, but I like to call it joyful knowing, which goes much further beyond faith. It actually, in my mind, expands beyond this certainty beyond logic because it infuses a playfulness in it, which is central to the execution of this perspective. I said perspective because that's what it is, and that's why it's free. You don't need anything but yourself and your desire to have this right now. Now, I said it's easy. I said it's simple, but it's not easy, and I mean that. It's actually one of the most challenging transformations that I continue to work on. And it is one of the most worthwhile practices that I have encountered. In another video, I'm going to share a meditation with you, that inner smile, that will help, as I said, guide us along this path. But right now, I just want to talk about this concept. How can it even be real? How can just the perspective of joyful knowing give me the life that I've always wanted? I know it sounds like a bunch of woo-woo manifestation BS, frankly. And I'm a very grounded person. I need logic, I need science, I need action, I need principles. I don't just believe it because somebody said it. That goes for all of these faith traditions as well. Now, the Kabbalic understanding of this, as I said, is called certainty beyond logic. And that certainty is that beyond all logical knowing, everything is working out for you. This is one of the most challenging and paradoxical considerations that we can ever take on. And paradox is how you know you're getting somewhere. When things don't seem like they fit, and yet they just are inseparable, you know that there's something worth studying there. So, what is it that we all want in life? We all want to be happy. We all want to live a joyful life. We think that the car is going to do it. We think that the attractive partner is going to do it. We think that the big house is going to do it. We think that any number of things are going to give us the joy that we're looking for, but they're not. And you know this too. You know that as soon as you get whatever the fulfillment is, yeah, you might enjoy it for a while, but pretty soon it's going to be on to the next thing. Unless we learn to embody this practice, this joyful knowing that everything that's happening in every moment, you being right here watching this, me right here recording this while God knows what's going on around the world, it's exactly what it should be. And it's the hardest thing to realize. How can this be? Well, for me, the realization first came about when I had gotten through my divorce. I had been 15 years in very, very challenging marriage. It never made sense any of the time. It never made sense. And then 6 months after getting out of that marriage, I found myself with my now wife of 14 years. And about a year and a half into our relationship, I had a deep ceremony experience where I realized that were it not for all of those tribulations and all those challenging experiences, I would not have been brought to the serendipitous time and place where I met my wife. B, I would not know how to value the relationship that I had. And C, I wouldn't have grown to the extent that I had where I could be the man that I needed to be to keep a woman of that quality in my life. There have been so many other instances like this. Our arrest, my wife and I, we were arrested in 2015 for sacred mushroom ceremonies. At the time, it seemed like the entire world was falling apart. And it's exactly what led to us founding the world's first sacred mushroom retreat in Jamaica, and now one of the fastest growing and best organized sacred mushroom faith communities in the United States. If there was one thing that I could tell myself from those times in the past, it would be smile into it, my friend, because this is working in your favor. Now, Steve Jobs, when he gave his famous commencement speech at, I forget which Ivy League university it was, though, but it's a speech that goes down in history. It's one of the most powerful motivational speeches that you can listen to. And in it, he talks about how life, the dots of our life, only connect in reverse, that we can't stand where we are and really know how this is going to lead to anything, but we can look back and see how events and circumstances in our life led to other events and circumstances that then led to others, that there was somehow this chain of events that brought us always exactly where we needed to be. Now, if you are familiar with the term synchronicity, I would imagine that you are. It's pretty common these days. But when we find ourselves in a place that everything seems to line up and we realize all of a sudden all of the pieces that had to move into place for that moment to be where it is and what it is right then and there, that is a great opportunity to sit with this joyful knowing, with this certainty beyond logic, that everything is happening for us. I also need science. I don't just believe what I hear from some mystical tradition. It's one of the reasons I love Daoism so much. It's a spiritual science that tests the theories and principles. And when I first came across the experience of this joyful knowing, of this realization that life had been conspiring in my favor, it was a little overwhelming at first because it revealed itself in a very powerful, big way. But then I had to do some digging because I wasn't going to just believe my own thoughts even. And as I started to look for places that this showed up in a more researchable way, a more objective understanding of this concept, the process of evolution occurred to me. I realized that throughout all history, life is working towards greater efficiency and greater connectivity. Life is always in service to itself. And it doesn't look like that sometimes in the moment, right? Evolution's sometimes it's kind of ugly, kind of unpleasant, the way things unfold, mutations and just, how environmental factors that shape physiology and whatnot. And yet that fundamental principle behind the operating system behind all life is working through you and through me right now. It goes back into for me anyway, like I am able to look at things like the fear around AI or, God forbid, the possibility of World War III happening right now. And in the moment, I have to acknowledge, of course, there's suffering, there's loss of employment, there's loss of life, there's loss of infrastructure, money is just being literally blown up. And yet, at the same time, I can find the awareness that somehow, beyond my logical knowing, I am certain that this is working in service to life itself. Now, the fossil record is very long. You may indeed have lifetimes to learn these lessons. It's our human mind, it's our ego mind that wants everything to be different than it is right now. And that is the shift that we have to make. It is the single most challenging perspective shift for humans because we are so negatively biased. We really truly think that inherently the world is out to get us. There's danger lurking around every corner. We're going to lose all of our money. All those things might happen. And we also have examples of many, many amazing humans who, despite whatever tragedy it was, were able to find the joyful knowing that everything is exactly as it should be. That does not mean that we just have to accept the status quo and that we never seek to create change in this world. But if you have kids, or if you've worked with children, or even if you work with adults, because we're all just kind of big kids, right? Perhaps you have come across the experience where trying to get someone to change actually has the opposite result. Force always gets counterforce. Real power is in smiling into whatever is and knowing that it's exactly what it should be. The last thing I want to leave you with is, I think, one of the most powerful components of this perspective, or one of the most powerful realizations through this perspective of joyful knowing, certainty beyond logic. I spoke about synchronicities a while ago, and I suspect you've had some synchronicities in your life. Sometimes where just in an uncanny way, things seem to work out so beautifully, so serendipitously, that you didn't plan it, but how could this not be planned? Because there were so many moving pieces that needed to come together for this exact moment to transpire. That's something very real to pay attention to. That's a little wink from the universe that it is watching. It is working with us. We are co-creating this. You'll see as you shift your perspective and become more optimistic that more synchronicities occur. They're actually happening all the time. It's really our narrowed awareness that prevents us from seeing them. And sometimes those big moments, something happens and we're just blown away by the uncanny coming together of people, places, and things. And what I want to share with you is the consideration of this, that not only in retrospect did it maybe take months or weeks, or all these pieces had to line up, right? Like let's say you encountered someone that you had just been thinking about and you needed to tell them something, and they show up at the grocery store right when you're there, right? And you get to talking to them and you're like, I can't believe you're here. I needed to share this with you. It was time sensitive, whatever it might be. You've all got your own experiences. And that person says, I know, it's so uncanny. I wasn't even supposed to be here. I was going down and I just felt this pull to come in this grocery store. I need to pick up a few things. And here you are. And now we're having this conversation. And if you dig into that and you explore it back, there are an infinite number of events, little shifts in the timeline, if you will, that led to those two people being in that exact moment at the exact time so that this information could exchange. And beyond that, considering that all of time and history had to happen just as it did in order for that precise moment to unfold in the way that it did. Awe and wonder are doorways into this joyful knowing Gratitude is a doorway into joyful knowing, and joyful knowing will transform your life. It won't matter if you get the $1 million or the trophy spouse or whatever it is that you think is going to bring you joy if you already have the joy. And here's the thing, if we already have that joyful knowing, well, then it's much more likely that those things that we're seeking are going to show up in our lives, even if it's just because we're more open-minded with a positive perspective. When you get your head down complaining about how miserable life is, it's really difficult to see the opportunities that are in front of you. So I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. It's a wonderful opportunity that I'm really starting to understand as a devotional service. So if you liked it, please subscribe, comment, share, all those things. I'm going to record a inner smile meditation that I'll post after this, that I'll have linked in the video here, that is going to be just another 10-minute or so practice that you can employ to help embody this joyful knowing. And this meditation, I have literally seen it age 65-year-old women in reverse. I'm not joking. So check out that video. Thanks for joining me. Until next time.